Welcome to Life on Trial. I am your host, Louis Persia, and looks like court is in session today. I don't know, maybe it doesn't have the same ring to it because I have a new mic. Anyways, so hi, you've made it to the next episode of whatever the fuck this podcast is. Yeah, I think the concept is pretty simple in terms of like my podcast idea and whatnot, but regardless, I do think it's unique. I actually spent months just thinking about the name. Because sadly enough, there are so many podcasts out there nowadays. And I did talk about it a little bit on my first episode where I dived into, me being interested in podcasts and like listening to a lot of podcasts lately. And nowadays I kind of feel stuck. Like, damn, what the fuck left is there to watch? So, or listen to. So now I instead am recording shit that maybe I will listen to because if I don't find enjoyment in listening to my own voice and looking at my own face and talking to myself and hearing myself talk to myself, maybe about myself, then what the fuck is even the point? Anyways, so going back to my main idea, no one's idea is original. Nope. Nope. You're not original. Sorry. You're not. Like, and no one really cares. Yeah, that's the brutal, honest truth. Yeah, this podcast episode is honestly going to be a little lame, but who cares? There's going to be many more to come, and I know I'm just gonna have to start releasing a bunch of videos or audios until I am satisfied, which is because this is life on trial. Okay, now that that's out the way, so I did, funny enough, I think I first heard of this concept on another podcast. Sadly, I don't remember which one it was, but it strengthens the point. There's 7 billion people on the earth. Maybe there's more now. I don't know. I think I lost track and who's even checking anymore. The planet's going to shit anyways. But anyway. So just think about it. Do you really think out of like just think about the statistics of it all. Do you really think out of 7 billion people on this earth, do you really think that there is not one person out there that had the exact same thought as you? The exact same idea? Look at Jeff Bezos. You know how many people probably thought, yeah, selling books online, it'll probably make some money, but it's fine. I'll just keep working at the bodega. It's fine. I'm paying the bills, working at the nursing home. It's fine. I'm doing this or that. I'm cutting hair. I'm just listing out examples, but, you know, the point is, oftentimes we're far too comfortable. Damn, this is my ADHD kicking in. Side note, I haven't slept in over 24 hours, and if you hear the siren, that is because I don't have a soundproof apartment, and you're just gonna have to deal with that. At least I got a new mic. No idea is original. And, looking at someone like Jeff Bezos, I'm sure there were people that thought of selling books on Amazon. I mean, on online, which is now Amazon, but I'm sure the idea has been played out before. It's been thought out before, but it's all about execution and actually doing the fucking shit. And I think this is where I personally need to improve on. But I think we can all, just sit down for a second and think about that. So, for example, Life on Trial, my podcast. I'm sure, I'm like 100% sure someone out there has thought of, yeah, life is always on trial. Yeah, this and that. All trials are connected. We're all connected to each other in some way, somehow. Everything's a lesson. Sometimes you got to look at things from a different way, from a different lens. Maybe sometimes you don't have to look for an answer. You just got to look through and just feel it, examine the evidence. But my point is, I'm sure someone has had that same epiphany, that same thought, and maybe they shared it with someone, maybe they didn't. Maybe they just kept it to themselves, or maybe they just never thought about it again. Because the other crazy part. Us as human beings, we have now, don't quote me on this, but we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. Yeah. So that means sorry, I shouldn't be yelling. So that means well over 1,200,000. Yeah, I was never good at math. That's why we have calculators. Um, no, that just means for my brain, I think more. And, you can be lost in thinking, and it can be very beneficial, and sometimes it can be very hurtful. So let me give you an example. I recently had this awakening, I should say, where I sort of just realized I've been playing for a show that I didn't even know was recording, right? And I think we kind of all have been. And what the fuck are you talking about? Just think about it. Some more than others, some being me. It's not necessarily only you care about what people think. I think everyone does. It's just about what you do with it, right? And for me, it's always been, well, damn, I can't paint my room this certain color, but can make sure it's fucking clean. I can make sure I can still, I can still make it like the cleanest room we've ever been into. I can make it look like a hotel. I can remove all character from this room just so you can't, think of me as messy. Just wait. Don't go into the closet now. You're gonna find, um, you know, 16 years of my life, and also, you get what I did there. But you're gonna find 16 years of my life, and also a whole fucking mess because not everything is surface level, and not everyone is meant to see the surface, and not everyone does. What the fuck am I talking about? I don't know. I haven't had sleep. I've been running off of no sleep. Why? I don't know why. But here we are. Anyways, how are you? I'm doing fine. How are you? I'm great. How was your weekend? You know what? Actually, fuck your weekend. I really actually don't care. No one really does. How many people do you think ask you, "Hi, hey, how are you doing?" and are genuinely interested in how you are doing? No one. Are you okay? Are you okay? Aren't we all shitty people? I believe on my last, or I guess my first episode, I sort of dived into the idea of that I think a lot and this and that and life on trial. It's a podcast where we think about the evidence and examine the different trials of life from all perspectives and avenues because they all intertwine and they're all one big life trial. Yes, that's all true, but sometimes you just got to stop fucking thinking too much. And I think I do think too much, and it's kind of always been like that. Let me backtrack. So I recently had an eye-opening experience, and with this experience, I won't dive too much into like what led me to this or what this experience was, but I did have a situation of sorts where I don't know, I kind of got an epiphany. So, things just started clicking for me, and I'm like, oh fucking shit, fuck. And what I started thinking was my whole life, sort of, my whole life, I been performing, but haven't we all been performing? You know? That's really what life is one big performance, one big show and tell. A lot of people do a lot of telling, showing, or nothing. Maybe they just didn't show up that day. Maybe they show up every day. But yeah, this is today's trial. The trial of everyone's a weirdo. Yeah. I hate to admit it. Everyone's a weirdo. And stop trying to like play like this perfect picture, even in your own fucking house. So like I had this experience and I'm thinking and I'm like, shit, I gotta make sure this looks a certain way. I gotta make this look a certain way. And I'm like, wait a minute. For who? For who do I need to make shit look a certain way? Not for me. Not for you. Sorry. Because have you seen any new episodes lately? No. So why the hell am I putting shit away and doing, extensive cleaning for absolutely no reason? Now let's get to the fucking serious business. What the fuck did I even just say? Been awake for over 24 hours, and instead of sleeping, I'm like, huh, maybe I should record another podcast episode since I've been procrastinating on that because, I don't know, maybe I'm tired of fucking acting. But yeah, literally life is a whole simulation. Don't you think about it? You do the same thing every day. You say you don't have a routine, but you doing nothing is your routine. Or just like, ugh, like everything is just like a performance. Like, don't you think thinking can be good or it can be the reason that you have a 14th reason and run out of reasons. But um thinking for me has always been kind of my superpower, and that's just all I do. I just think. Lately though, I've been more intentional with my thinking, and it's helped me a lot and also has definitely harmed me quite a bit. But it's okay, you know, because life is all one big trial. All right, now that we're done with that, I realized I've sort of just been performing like unintentionally, or maybe, you know, everyone else already had gathered this thought together and like, what the fuck is the point of me talking about it? You tell me, you click the video or the episode, whatever. We're literally always performing. Just think about how when you say hello to your neighbor and you're like, "Hey, how are you?" "Good. How are you?" "I'm good too." "Yeah, nice seeing you. Bye." The fuck? Sometimes I skip the whole fucking shit and I don't even say nothing. I'm just like, "Mm, yeah, I think you get the point." So like if you're watching the video, you'll see what I did or what I tried to do, but just like you understand, like facial gestures, like hello, like 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 I don't really want to talk to you right now, but I have to say hello, I guess. And that's just like that's always rubbed me the wrong way because if we're actually getting down to the real nitty gritty, actually, how are you? Why the fuck are you asking me how am I? Do I look all right? The fuck? Like gas prices just keep going higher and higher. Public transportation prices going higher and higher. Everything's going higher. And so is so are my thoughts, my intrusive thoughts. I've been trying to put on this show. And for what? I challenge you, get on a train and just don't get off. Maybe go to sleep. Wake up and you're like, I guess I'll get off here. Start walking around and just start like talking to random people. Give them a fake name. You can come up with a fake story. And I haven't like done this in its entirety, but I've had my moments where I just blatantly lie. And you can just like lie to someone straight to their face. If you have intentionality behind it, you can lie to someone straight to their face and like they wouldn't know a thing. Me, of course, I try to have a little bit of integrity and I'll let them know, huh, no, I was just joking. But like you can make up a whole lie, oh, really? No way. Funny enough, like that's my cousin and I never knew that we were related. Yeah, and like you just like start talking about like little things like, oh yeah, that could be true. You could put two and two together and just make them believe you. Now I sound like a manipulator, but no. Again, I will always let them know that, by the way, I was just joking. But anyways, I'm losing track of what the fuck I'm talking about because I have no sleep because, life. You can literally conceive whatever life you want, right? Perception is really the key to everything, honestly. That is literally the key to everything. And maybe you want to call it reputation, perception, same shit. Taylor got it right. And actually, one of my previous bosses, I love her. She told me like one of the best pieces of advice that, any boss has given me was from her. And she was like, you know, something that I've learned is your reputation is what really will most of the time determine your success and your if your reputation is trash, it doesn't matter how good you are if no one thinks that, right? Then they won't come to you for the good task and you won't get the chance to like show your worth and like be even better. Like, it's just like a domino effect, right? And that's really something you can connect to any point of life. So let's think about it. So for me, I don't come from much, and something I've been very good at until I want to say recently, where I've kind of let go of that prerogative, is just like sort of showing that, yeah, sure, I don't come from much, but what I do have, it's going to be nice. And that can be a few things. Like, okay, I was actually reading some of my journals from many years ago, and I had a little entry where I'm talking about putting my life into boxes and packing it up and sealing the box up. But knowingly, I while I'm sealing these boxes, whatever the box might contain is not the point. But when I'm sealing these boxes, I know the box is fragile. I know it's cardboard. I know it's with tape, and you can knock the box over and it can open right up. And it will. It will happen. It will always happen. No matter what. Anything you try to box up, it's gonna spill out eventually, and a lot of that box can spill out. Maybe it's just a little bit, or maybe all of it. A lot of that can get damaged, whatever was in that box. Just knowing that you're sealing something up instead of just preserving it. Like, why would you put it in a box? Think of it. You need to deeply cleanse your room. Sorry, turns out you're a hoarder. I think I might be a little bit of a hoarder, but you need to deeply cleanse your room. I'm going to make sure my room is the cleanest room I've ever had, like you've ever stepped into, because yeah, you want to walk into my room. Yeah, no, I don't have any video games because I was never allowed to play video games. I don't read any books because I used to hate reading. Well, actually, I had diagnosed ADHD. I've actually been reading a little more lately, but whatever. At least my room is like really neat, just don't open my closet. You'll find 16 years of my life in there. You got what I did there. But you'll find 16 years of my life and also like a bunch of like shit I need to throw out, but it's okay because it's in my closet. You can't see it. I can't see it. So what does it matter? It does matter though, right? Not just thinking of it as of like physical things, but like internal things. Hey there. Hey. Hey. Hey, hey, we need order in the courtroom. Order, order in the courtroom. Now. Sorry. Now.